What is up, guys? Welcome back to Rave Green TV. We have another video where we'll be answering your guys' questions. And if you guys want your questions answered, become a member on the page. You'll get tons of benefits. Obviously, like I said, you'll get your questions answered in their own videos. Every chat, whatever you want to say when we're going live, we'll talk about it. You'll get some fun emojis to drop in the chat as well. And today, we will be answering Curtis Chad's question. He said, if we only get to the first round of the playoffs, is our season a success?
I would say overall, I would say no, but I wouldn't say it's a failure because obviously you come away with silverware, your season's not a failure. It's not a complete failure. But it is a secondary trophy. Obviously, the MLS Cup is what that's our primary goal, our objective. We built a very good caliber team that can make a run. So to go out in the first round, uh, given what we showed in the Leagues Cup, the ability to rise up to the challenge, to the competition when the games get more intense. So if we were to just throw that away and get bounced in the first round, very disappointing. I wouldn't call it a failure. I think there's a lot of let's just explore that, right? Let's say we get bounced in the first round. Okay, we did have Leagues Cup. That's a success. We saw the breakout of Pedro de la Vega, Obed Vargas, another huge step forward. That's a success as well. We saw that the rise of Osase and Musaski showing we have that striker depth. That's a success to me. So I would say there's a lot of minor successes in the season, and then you come away with silverware to where if we got bounced in the first round, to me, it's not a complete um, failure. But again, bouncing the first round in the MLS Cup playoffs with the team that we have, yeah, would definitely not call the season a success if that happened.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. And going back, CONCACAF Champions Cup run, disappointing the way it ended at Cruz Azul. Got to factor that into play, right? Obviously, Leagues Cup was good, awesome, amazing, great, whatever good verbs or adjectives, sorry, no longer in school, adjectives you want to use to describe that one. And then getting bounced in the first round, especially, I don't know. I think you also have to take opponent into this. And if we play Minnesota in the first round and get bounced, which is what we're set to face as we're filming this, I think that makes it a little more, you know, not as appealing. Because I think if we get bounced by LAFC in the first round, you take it with a grain of salt because Min Sun and Buanga are very good at soccer. But for me, like you said, when you factor in Obed's breakout, you factor in all the wins, and then also as much as Leagues Cup is a secondary tournament, we qualify for CONCACAF again, which I think is huge in my opinion. I think that's a
Good
tournament that we
point.
need to prioritize qualifying for. And we did do that. I think it's kind of one of those things where if you were to put this in gambling terms, the bet didn't hit, but it was just a push, right? I don't think that it was great. I don't think it was terrible, but I don't know how else to
Yeah.
describe it where it's just like kind of meh. I'm not upset about it, but I think the Sounders as an organization, and we've talked about it, we're kind of spoiled as Seattle fans when it comes to MLS terms because our expectations are a little bit higher than other clubs. We're not like a team like a Austin and a Nashville where US Open Cup playing for that final is really make or break for our year. I think as Seattle fans, we have higher expectations for this club. And part of that expectation is I expect us to consistently make deep runs in the playoffs. And if we fall short of that, like I said, against the Minnesota, no disrespect to Minnesota, but I think as a club, we should be in a better place than them. And we have more resources, better opportunities, and a bigger name. So for me, I think it's just meh. I wouldn't say it's failure, but I wouldn't call it a success at all.
All right. So then I would ask you, if being bounced in the first round would it make our season overall not a success? How far would the Sounders have to go for it to be a successful season in your eyes?
I think with where we are right now, considering like I said, we have that Leagues Cup, but we have that failure in CONCACAF. I think it's really situational. So if we were to go on, I'm not looking at the bracket right now, but let's say we get past Minnesota. If we lose, in my opinion, in the playoffs to a San Diego or a Vancouver or any of the teams below us, I still am pretty meh about it. If we lose to a LAFC, like I said, I don't take it. I'll be upset, but I won't be like, darn, that really ruined the season. But especially if we go out and lose to a Portland or a Vancouver in any round, this season's leaning towards failure for me. Just because, like you mentioned, we can't
Yeah,
let Lil Bro get too big, and
yeah,
it's freaking Portland.
yeah. Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know what
being
your thoughts
bounced.
are on that, but
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, being bounced out of the playoffs by Portland is, very infuriating. Of course, uh, being bounced out of the playoffs by Vancouver might honestly just be more insulting.
yeah, that'd be like,
Just given the history of that's just like you lose an arm wrestling competition with your 8-year-old cousin,
yeah,
and you're like, dude, am I
exactly.
fucking weak? Like, what the hell just happened? What just happened?
No shade to
So
Vancouver, but like full shade thrown at Vancouver in this segment. Like you are meant to be Lil Bro of Cascadia, and
yeah,
we
that's
cannot let
just
Lil Bro get too big, right?
yeah. I've said this time and time again. I draw the line at trophies. But I will add a caveat into that: beating us in the playoffs to get to the next round. I also draw the line at that. Um, I would say for me though, I think I think the season would only be a success if we made the MLS Cup final. Even if, like, let's say, like, best case scenario, if you're not going to make it to the MLS Cup, we get by Minnesota, we beat one of, whoever, Vancouver, San Diego, whoever we play in a tough series, and then, or a tough game, sorry. And then the Western Conference finals, let's say we play LAFC and we go all the way to the wire with them. And it's a very, very good game, and the boys show a lot of fight. Ultimately, you're not getting any. You're not going anywhere from that. You're not gaining an MLS Cup Finals appearance. That's not something you can put on your resume. Really, that's makes a real impact to your legacy. So, I would say, yeah, MLS Cup Final or bust in terms of if this season being a success. I would say, God, man, it would really be tough. I don't know if there's a scenario where it would be a failure unless we lost to a Cascadia team and got like the belt big
Yeah, I
time.
think that is the big. I mean, yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I think that is the biggest way to turn this bar lower. I think we do have
yeah.
potential to make the season into a success, but
It's just
like
tough because I
Curtis,
don't want to be a prisoner of the moment here because obviously we did beat, the GOAT at home in a Leagues Cup final thrashing. That was phenomenal. Sold out the stadium damn near. That's very, very successful. So to call a season a failure when you have that on the season's resume would be, you know, something very drastic would have to happen for us to call it a failure, right? So for me, yeah, would have to be a Portland or Vancouver belt to ass
when
to
you
call it
said
a
beat the
failure.
goat, you meant Ryan Saylor, right?
Yeah, of course,
Okay, I
of
was just making
course.
sure because I didn't know if the subscribers knew what you're talking about there. But yeah,
Yeah,
Ryan Saylor and his Inter Miami team. But I think going back to it, I think that if we lose in I feel like it's harsh to say the season was a failure, but if we lose in this first round, I don't want to call this season a success either.
no,
So I think it's good to end that one there. Curtis, Chad, thank you for your question. And boys, if you want your questions answered, you know where to go. If you want to join the channel, you can drop some questions and we'll have videos talking about whatever you guys want to talk about. But for now, guys, leave a like. Do not forget to subscribe, and we'll see you boys later.